Hello everyone, welcome to the Majestix Heroclix Podcast. If you like our content, please like and subscribe, it really helps us out. If you're interested in learning more about the Bronze Age format and the Majestix Open Series, please check out openseries.majestixccg.com. Also, if you want to learn about Heroclix strategies, tactics, and lists from the game's top players, please visit majestixccg.com/apex-insiders. Lastly, if you're looking for Heroclix singles, please visit our eBay stores at stores.ebay.com/MajestixHeroclix and stores.ebay.com/ClicksCollective. All the links for everything I just talked about is below in the description. And again, my name is Jeff, and today we're joined by a special guest, the 2014 National Champ, the 2018 Rock Cup winner, 2019 Team Worlds winner, the current reigning national champion, and the most recent Majestix Bronze Age Online Qualifier winner, Adam Friedman. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay.
Congrats.
It's feeling very breezy down here.
Yes. Huh?
It's feeling very breezy down here.
Oh.
without the buffer.
All right. So, dude, you just won another event. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your team? I'll pull it up so we can see it.
If I can actually remember everything offhand. Okay, hold on. So the team is two 1776s, two Marvellas.
Yeah.
That part's easy. And then it should be Phalanx Drone, who becomes Spider-Man family because Soldier. And then the JLU Joker with the two bombs, who become Spider-Man family because Celebrity.
With Marvella,
is the main force. And then the sideline. So what are the IDs? So there's 8 IDs. It's five students.
3 students.
Yeah.
Oh no, 5 students.
Yeah, 5 students, 3 headmaster. Iceman, Chamber, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast,
Mm-hmm.
and then in reverse order, Regenesis, Beast, SR Cyclops from XXS. Who did I say? Jean for the Phoenix Retail, Chamber for the only one, and then Iceman was UXM Super Rare.
Yeah.
And then the 5-point IDs were Adam for the Retail, Shield or Level 7 for Kobik, and who's the other one? Who was the other one?
Green Arrow.
Oh, Green Arrow, yeah, for Chase Arrow, right. And then my 9th sideline slot was Haha Joker. And then I had Blue Battery with Net Wall and Sniper. I think
yeah. Your maps of choice were Poison Ivy Greenhouse, Doom Castle, and Ice Planet.
Turned out it was Doom Castle and Ice Planet. Actually, I guess I did go to Ivy's once, and it was wrong. Yeah.
Bad choice.
It just wasn't the right choice in that matchup.
No, for sure.
I had a line I just never even noticed until after that game ended, and I used that in several other games.
Good. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your team does? Obviously, we know what the 1776s does. Mm-hmm. Slows down your opponent, only giving them 2 actions in theory, unless they have some action modifiers.
So, I mean, the main trick is that you're doing the normal 1776 Marvella stuff, like just making your opponent have a hard time doing anything to you, and then holding up in a corner. And then the main trick that it utilizes is the Jokers. There's a bunch of weird, intricate rule stuff, but the short answer, what it does is you get to call in Kobik and then trade out the Bomb Joker for Haha Joker, and you just have Haha Joker forever. And it's full dial Haha Joker.
I know a lot of people were confused on why you could do that. Could you go into it and explain it a little bit?
So some of it has to do with the history of it, and some of it has to do with the way a somewhat newer interaction has been ruled to work. So part number 1, and this is more general than just Haha Joker himself. This is just how Kobik works. Mm-hmm. There's actually no rule that prohibits something from being on your sideline for the effect of something on your sideline. It's just very, very rare that those are not the same thing. So, for instance, you can obviously have a trouble alert on your sideline, even if you don't have a main force character with trouble alert. And the character who's giving you the access to the sideline is a sideline character. So we know that by default that can happen, at least in principle. And it turns out the rules on the rule specifying that you have to specify the effect they're on the sideline for doesn't specify that the effect needs to be a force character. The rule could have said it needs to be a main force character unless it says sideline active, and it just doesn't. And so as long as you specify that he's there specifically for Kobik's effect, that whoever the swap is, you can do it. And the original reason I actually asked about that was I wanted to trade out drones for other drones. And the cool trick there is there's a rule on names that says that if the name has parentheses, you ignore the parentheses for seeing if it's the same name. So Ultron parentheses Phalanx and Ultron parentheses Age of Ultron have the same name, which means you can take a 30-point drone. In the middle of the game, it's now 120 points, and you can Kobik swap it out to a full points Age of Ultron drone, which gets him like an extra 6 or 7 clicks and a bunch of clicks of Pulse Wave and reducers. Yeah, and he just becomes a true 120-point character. That was the original idea for when I was asking about that trick. And so trick number one is you don't. And so originally I knew for a fact you could do that if you played the Kobik on the main force. There was no question that worked. The only reason the teleporter trick from way back when didn't work with drones is because of the timing. At the time the teleporter occurs for the better suited, it's too early for the drones make me 120 effect to apply.
Got it.
Because it's actually before the game starts.
Yeah, and then it's during the game they count for that until KO.
Right, during the game they always count for the higher point value, and you're just taking a power action, so clearly the effect applies. And so for the drone, you could just do that. And so at first, like I realized a while ago that you could play Kobik with it, but just it's a lot of points to not get that much. Like you're spending the 100 points to gain 100 points.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just not that efficient. But then when I realized, oh, she actually just has shield. Well, I wonder if I can just pay 5 points for it, because then it might be good. And it turns out that there's nothing that explicitly says it works, but there's nothing that prohibits it.
Okay.
And so the answer is essentially there's no reason it shouldn't work in principle, and so it does. The Joker side of it is the more confusing one, and that goes into some of the history. Joker is in a very, very brief line of 3 figures in the game that do essentially what he does, and starting with Slosh Bizarro. And so the first thing you have to understand about Joker is his wording is just modeled after Beyonder. And Beyonder was modeled after Slosh Bizarro, but with some slight changes to make a couple specific interactions less confusing. So Slosh Bizarro, he starts the game with so many Erasib tokens on his card, but he actually doesn't say when he gets the tokens. He just left the language completely blank on that. So he just says his cost is 25 points for every Erasib token on his card. It doesn't say when you put them on, and it also had a problem that it was ambiguous as to what happens if tokens are placed on his card during the game. Did that increase his point value? Because there's an argument to be said that he just says places, he doesn't say when. And it doesn't say that he began with or anything. It just and so my understanding is when they printed Beyonder about a year and a half later or 2 years later, they basically realized that and they were like, okay, let's actually fix this so that it's clear his point value is based on the number he starts with, rather than however many he gains during the game, because Beyonder could heal and gain more tokens, just like Bizarro could. And so they fixed that part of it when they moved to Beyonder. And then they just copied the same wording for Joker without really thinking, he actually doesn't ever gain them back. But there was no reason, there was no harm to keeping that language. And so during force construction language was really about preventing that weird case with Bizarro of we don't know when the tokens get put on. So like maybe he just dies before he does anything, like was obviously never the intent. Or he can increase his cost during the game, which was also never the intent. And so that's where that language comes from historically. And then on top of that, those 3 figures are just a weird case where you can never treat their language literally, because they do a weird thing where they mention costs so many points for each token. But the way they've always been treated is it's treated as increasing the point value. And so there's sort of this principle with them where their point value is determined by and tied to how many tokens they have.
Okay.
So which is why, like, that's why when you play a Joker with the 5 tokens, he doesn't just cost 50 points, he is 50 points. Is because despite the fact all 3 of them say cost, they mean value. And so there's just a templating issue in that all 3 of them are weird in that they use the rules language somewhat imprecisely, which I think is just historical. It's an effect they've done like 3 times. So it took them a while, and they never quite got it perfect. And then the last part of it is I don't know that there was ever a win posting on it, and I happen to have known it because it came up in a game I was playing in. In the very last, the Nationals that Frazier won, where it was the last one that Sam Cap is legal, is how I remember.
2018.
That sounds
or 2019.
Right. 2019.
2019.
Frazier won in 2019. So that was the only major event in which both Haha Joker and the Joker ID were legal. And at least in the game I played, and presumably in some other game in the room, when the judges were asked, is that like what happens? Can you do that because of the tokens and timing? And the answer was just it's fine. Was the actual answer that was given. It worked. You're allowed to do it. There was an ambiguity when I think it was, I don't remember if it was Chris or Ed I talked to afterwards just because I was curious when discussing it. And there was an ambiguity as to whether you had to play him at 50 just because of some weird timing stuff that had to do with the rule. But I don't remember the answer offhand. And I could see a reason why it would have to be 50. Just because I don't know, but back then the IDs worked differently. Was that before or after XXS got printed?
That would have been after, because right? XSS came out in February.
So it would have been the new ID language. So there might have been a weird caveat that you had to do Joker at 50, because technically you don't choose a starting line under the new ID rules until after you choose the ID character, which means during force construction, the effect that says to choose a different starting line other than its maximum starting line hasn't yet applied.
Because if I remember correctly, there's a place in the rulebook that says characters on your sideline have to be on their top dial or something.
Yeah, so it's in the comp rules, and it specifies that unless an effect specifies otherwise, effects that for a character on your sideline have them at their highest value.
Got it. Okay.
And so by default, you start them there, and then you do something else when something says to. And so sort of by default with the ID cards, the way they technically work, and most of the time it doesn't matter, is you put them to their highest value, and then when you select for the ID card, you change it if you want to. Right? Because the ID card says go to any line, and you go, okay, I'll pick this line now. So they sort of go there very briefly, and then once you pick them, they'll go to the new line. In theory, if there's some weird case where you have something there for an ID card and it's not chosen, it'll presumably stay on its highest value line. I can't think of a case it matters.
Yeah, seems rather irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know how you do anything with the character after that. And so that's the reason you might have to do 5 with Joker, simply because when you initially put him on the force, even for an ID card, you don't yet choose a starting line. Therefore, you can't choose a different value other than the highest, which means he has 5 tokens by definition. And since he has the 5 tokens, when you try to choose one, but you can't just choose 30. He has 5 tokens. That means he's 50.
Okay. Yeah, so you have to take the maximum.
So I think you have to take the maximum because of that weird timing thing. Although that actually didn't come up in the game because the opponent I played against when I asked it happened to have been playing him at 50 for the call-in, so it didn't come up there.
I'm saying in your circumstance, you'd probably want to play him at 50 also.
I mean, I want him at 50 rather than 30. More tokens. Lives longer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's super juicy in the sense that that very last token is worth 80 points.
So we were talking about that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig into your Swiss round. Your round robin rounds.
Round robin rounds, right? So my first game that I played was against Brian. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Dormeyer?
I think it's Dormeyer.
He was on, I want to say plus 10 or 11 Justice League.
Yeah, plus 11 Justice League.
Plus 11. Okay, so he had Prime Batman, the Fates,
Waller,
2
Power
Wonder
Woman.
Twins, the Batman Superman robot, and Amanda Waller, and that's 11.
Yeah, Amanda Waller and Power Woman.
And Power Woman's the 11th. Okay, that's what I was missing. Yeah. He won map. So he took me to Robinson Park Cataclysm. And basically, my plan that game is I'm going to eat an attack, and I'm going to hopefully be able to follow up basically with Adam retails, which is, it turns out, for whatever reason, the spacing works that. So my turn 1 basically was equipping stuff, moving them out, and then making sure my 76s were in, I think it was sidestep with the Marvellas, place them in front, whatever row that is, 5. Just calling my side 1 and 2 for counting purposes. Yeah. And so the idea was if either of the 2 of them get knocked to their last click sidestep from the Psychic Blast, then the spacing works out exactly. That if they call in Adam, Adam can move carry, sidestep carry, drop in front, sidestep the 76 up, and then I have exactly the spacing I need to retail hitting their backline with the Adam afterwards. And that's exactly what happened. So one of the 76s got missed, the other one got hit. The Marvellas all died. Sadly, I missed all of I had 5 rollouts on the Bomb Jokers, and all of them missed.
Oh, man.
So no Bomb Jokers survived the initial Batman assault, which is the story of the Bomb Joker rollouts in this event, which is very sad. I was really hoping to make some extra Jokers in some game somewhere. to. And so the bomb jokers all died. I think Haha Joker made his super senses, and I think Kobik made his super senses. Not that she would have been finished off anyway. And then on my turn, it was basically go in, Adam you. It killed like three. I think it killed 3 Fates. Put both Wonder Twins to last click. Put Batman to click 3, and put Waller to last click, which was pretty good.
You're like, ouch.
And then on his next turn, I think he said after the game that he blundered a little bit on his turn 3. So his next turn was basically Hawkeye a bunch of my stuff and then attack with Batman. And it ended up the sequencing put the 76 that was there to last click instead of dead. So it was still alive. And then on my turn, I was able to call in Beast to finish off his Dr. Fate. And then the rest of the game was basically me moving up my Joker so that he could be in position to start doing stuff. And then he got based by a Fate, and some barriers got put up so I couldn't occupy those squares if I broke away, which turned out were irrelevant, other than maybe making me not able to call into them. And I had literally 5 turns in a row, where on any of those turns, all I need is 50-50 roll the breakaway to break away from the Fate to do something.
Yeah.
And it was like fail the breakaway. And there was 2 parts to it. So because I'm next to a Fate who's 1 click with no reducers, if I roll the D6 at the beginning of a turn, that puts me on to click 3, which is always a 1/3 chance no matter where I'm at, then I get to poison him and do whatever I want. I don't even need to roll sidestep.
Yeah.
And so the first turn, it was roll past it 1. Like, it didn't matter by how much. It was miss it, miss the sidestep, don't do anything. Next turn, miss it, miss the sidestep, try to attack him, needing like a 4, miss. Next turn, miss it, miss the sidestep, clear. Next turn, miss it, miss the sidestep, try to attack him, needing like a 5. I think I left a perplex for defense, miss that too. And then the next turn was miss it, miss the sidestep, and then time was called. No. And then it was one more turn after that, and then it was miss it, miss the sidestep, clear. And then it was his turn. Time is called on his turn, so I get one last turn, and I finally get the sidestep. But I don't have a way that I can actually get enough points to win. And so it was Colin Cyclops trying to get Waller, and then she had the mastermind still, so just mastermind it to Wonder Twin. Didn't really matter. And so like had I made it, I think if I literally made on like the first 3 turns either the breakaway or the poison, I think I get to kill enough stuff to get ahead. Because I think that buys me enough time to get Cyclops to precision strike, kill the retail, and then follow up with something that eventually either kills both Wonder Twins and or Waller, and then I'm up by like 10. And he really just wasn't going to be attacking to be able to get the Joker tokens off. Plus, I had super senses with a reroll on it.
And that's the game you lost in
round
robin.
That was the only game I lost in the event. Yeah.
Okay.
Was in Swiss. And so that one was rough. And I was like, oh man, if this is the way this whole event's
that's not how you want to start off.
No, it really. I guess if it's going to happen, that's the best round for it to happen in.
Yeah. All right. So then you played Anthony. He had another. It was kind of a similar mirror match, but with a different functionality. He had the dual.
No, so the next one was the Absolute Carnage team. I played
Sean
last. Yeah, so Sean was next. He was on Absolute Carnage, Harry Leland, and Doppelganger with the cute Mjolnir plus sniper trick. And then he was on, I want to say, Indigo Battery. And
yeah, he was.
I won map, and I made a mistake. I went to Poison Ivy's greenhouse, and it was just absolutely the wrong map to be on. I was thinking I wanted to really protect the backline stuff, and it just wasn't really that important. I could protect him just fine with just the normal barrier ideas. I didn't need the extra spacing of having the battery be in the way as well, which is what that map is there for. So because it's the 4x4 start.
Yeah.
So say I'm on the side with OP. So you put it in, what is it? You put it in MN 2324 or whatever. And then if you put like a diagonal barrier there, if they want to get in from most angles, they have to go through a battery and the blocking from the vast majority of angles, unless they're coming like directly at you from either the OP file or from the back 2 rows.
Yeah.
Because it's diagonal from you. So that's sort of the idea there, is it's like 4 extra squares of free blocking in most circumstances, defensively. But it turned out the better idea was just kill his Mjolnir, and then his Doppelganger wouldn't have done anything, which is the thing that like scared me the most once the game got started. So like another thing I forgot was Harry Leland doesn't have super strength, which I swear to God I thought he did.
Yeah.
So on his turn 1, he actually picked up Mjolnir and then dropped it for Doppelganger with Harry Leland. And I just let it go because I thought he had super strength. I don't know why, I just did.
Dang, Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah, he just got me. I'm like, okay, good to know. Leland does not have that. And so he got that equipped pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And basically, I sent in with the bomb jokers, did the Kovic trick, did all that stuff. He very, very quickly just Absolute Carnage killed both bomb jokers because he has Battle Fury, and so he just cut right through the shape change. So they didn't even get to roll. And then he took a quick token off of Haha Joker, which wasn't great. And I eventually got Harry Leland, but in the process, I believe he got to kill my Cyclops that I called him to do it with, and so he was still up on points. And so basically, it devolved into a position where his Doppelganger was kind of stuck doing nothing on the elevated Unpoison Ivies, and his Absolute Carnage was nearly surrounded by all my stuff. And then time was called. I think on his turn, when he couldn't get any further, or no, time was called on my turn, before basically anything had really happened. And I had the realization even before that, basically, I'm sure time is soon. So I just have to kill Absolute Carnage this turn. And so I went in the tank for a while, figuring out what the best math on it was. And I think it ended up being Beast gets called in, outwitting shape change instead of getting Battle Fury and pluses. And then Beast gets the first attack because there was no super senses. Is that right? I think there were no super senses on him specifically. Yeah, so Beast gets the first attack, followed by Joker, followed by 76. And then it just worked and everything hit. And so it was fine. And then his follow-up attack on his turn, he wasn't able to kill enough stuff to make up the points. Absolute Carnage was just too expensive. I think
he has
5 or something.
Well, 150 because he has a prize.
Right, he's 150 because of the assigned dude.
And then
yeah. So
cool.
That was rough. If I just miss any of those attacks on Absolute Carnage, I don't know what I do. I think I just lose. And then the third game was against a sort of mirror. They were also in double 76, but they were with Penny for... Who was Penny for?
The Ultrons.
Oh, right. And then 2 Ultron drones.
And then he had Jarvis.
Double 76, Penny, Jarvis, and the 2 Ultron drones.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game basically came down to I killed both of the drones, and then nothing else died. I'm trying to think. So I killed both of the drones. Both of my bombs lived. Joker lost 2 tokens, and he killed my drone. Yeah, so I think the sequence was turn 1, convert Joker, send in bomb drones. Turn 2, actually equipped. Oh, so I have power gem on my team if I didn't state it. Which is for Joker to equip, and then he gets Sniper. He's really scary then. He's consistently attacking like either 12 and 2 or 11 and 3 with 1 into either of them with the Perplex from Blue Battery. So it's with 10 range. Yeah. Like he's just this nice little outpost that just shoots things from really far away with reasonable values that you basically can't get rid of. And so it was, I'm not entirely sure of the entire sequence, but I think it was turn 1, assign something with the construct, call in Kobik, use Kobik, because I was going first, so I had first from me. That had to have been it, to convert him to Haha Joker. And then turn 2 is when I started doing some barriers. I may have actually just not even bothered burying in the back line and just did it on the front stuff. And then basically after scooching up, both sides of us scooching up for a bit, because he ended up with, what's it called? The battery effect. I managed to take out his first drone before both of his drones got assigned using Sniper. And then the second one, once the position closed basically in the middle of the map, after he kills my drone, I was able to take out the second drone. And from there, basically, all my stuff based his 76s with the bombs. And then Haha Joker was in the mix too. And he just couldn't get anywhere with his 76s. So I think he took a few tokens off Joker just because he was able to attack it. And then after that, I think I eventually actually managed to kill the 76s. I think this is how I got the points in that game. And then just time was eventually called. But I mean, I still had all my figures on the map essentially, except for drone got killed. So once it got to that position, which is sort of the idea on the team is if I can get to a closed position where the bomb jokers just sit there with plasticity next to all your stuff in stealth, thanks to net, guaranteeing hindering, it's really hard for a lot of teams to get out of that. At which point, the rest of my figures can go do whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah, I saw that in the finals last night,
Yes.
which we'll touch on a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, you went 2-1 into round robin, and then you were 12th seed overall.
Which is well, it's not really 12th seed, right? It's really 14th because two of them are buys.
Yeah. So yeah, 14 out of 16.
Didn't make the top of that bracket, that's for sure.
But so didn't seem to matter. Just put yourself in a good seed for the bracket.
Yeah.
So you went against Richard the first round of single elim.
Yes. I'm definitely looking at it. It was definitely the game where just there were a lot of places where things can just go wrong with rollouts, and there's not much I can do about it because I think in retrospect I misbuilt my team.
Okay.
2 of my ID cards don't do anything. Turns out, I literally never used Chamber and I never used Iceman.
I was thinking you might could use some Pulse Wave.
Pulse Wave would have been okay. The main thing I really wish I had was just Chase Widow. There was basically every single match she would have been good.
Okay.
She would have been at least reasonable in pretty much every match, especially the ones I had more trouble with. Even against George, she would have been good because I could force the poison.
Yeah, because
so she was the main thing, and she was actually on the prior version of the build. The old version of the build had her, and then I think it had the other drone as the 9th ID slot, with the idea being I can choose to either upgrade drone or swap out jokers depending on what I needed, and depending on the matchup. But having her would have made a bunch of matchups much easier, particularly the one against Medina. Basically, he's on double null with black lantern battery, and then I think he's got like a protester or something to get an extra ID card. And so his whole game plan is he does a bunch of free stuff, gets to approach for free, gets to attack really well, and then he cuts through all rollouts. So once again, because of the stupid sword thing, I didn't get any shape changes with the bomb jokers. They just died. So my early game was actually, I never actually swapped out Joker in that matchup because I wasn't sure how many points I could get. And so I needed to be able to try and win 3-0 to basically force him to approach. Because then once he's close, maybe I can get a bunch of attacks in and we'll see what happens. And so the early game was throwing the bomb jokers out there to kill the protester, which worked. And it took up a while. It probably took
because you moved like one of the jokers to his starting area really fast.
It was like turn 2, yeah. Turn 1, I triple perplexed up a joker's speed. So that tells you how fast that joker was going.
He's running.
Maybe it was defense. Maybe it was triple perplex defense. I don't know. He moves 10 because it's 8 plus 2 from sidestep. So he already moves most of the map anyway. And so one of the jokers was literally next to his protester on turn 2, all the way on his second to last row, diagonally adjacent. So there's just no way to remove him. And so he actually killed his own protester because he killed my joker, which killed the protester. Which is a way to do it, I guess.
I
guess it's better
0
than letting
points.
it just sit there and poison him. Like, that's not good.
But so I don't know. Yeah, he gets rid of it, I guess, but he also could have used the actions to move up instead of spending it.
I think he knew he had a bunch of time. Like, that game I think that game had quite a few turns. Because basically I'm just sitting there barriering every turn waiting for him to come in. And then once he closes in, then I do stuff. There must have been, I think it was probably turn 4 when he finally killed both of the jokers, and then it was another 2 turns that he was able to just get up before I could do anything to him. And then finally he comes in, and he's like, if I'm rows 1 and 2, he's in like row 6 with both of them. And so, and the nice thing about all the time that takes is basically the only thing I was doing on my turn was literally putting my battery to specific clicks. So it was getting my battery specifically to click 6, which lets me double power action form a construct, or maybe it's power action form a construct to turn net into the scissors, which gives exploitiveness. And then the play was, which I wasn't sure when I was looking at it in theory that I'd have enough time to do if he just ignores the bomb jokers and sends in. And so the nice thing about that then is my 2 lines were either I'm calling in arrow, and I'm going, okay, I get to target one of the 2 of them 75% of the time, as long as either of them miss a shape change. And then I get them for 6, put into last click, and see if I can get anything to follow up with. and it works. And then because I had enough time to get the scissors, I was able to lead with Beast instead. And then leading with Beast, let me just get one of them for the 6 penetrating because it was with exploit. And so the reason that works is just when the ID cards change with XXS, they got rid of the restriction on resources, but added the one on equipment. And so you can assign resource stuff to ID card characters. So it was just assign construct to Beast, and he just did it.
Yeah.
And then the sequencing on there was funny. So the first attack hit, and he re-rolled it into a critical hit. And he only had the 2 theme props for the game. So I was thinking, okay, so he just uses up both theme props. I'm happy here. And instead he just didn't. So I got to just kill it.
Yeah, he just took it. I was like,
took it. He's just like, I'll just win it anyway. I don't care. I'm like, okay, I guess that's a thing. And he did sort of almost get there. Depending on how his sequencing had been, he might have been able to kill the Joker to get a lot of points. So he might have been able to make it up, actually. And I don't know how useful the extra theme prop would have been. But see, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right call there was. I know when I looked at it, I was just assuming he has to use it.
Yeah, like I feel like because at least it gets another rollout if you have to hit again.
That was
or you just whiff.
If I whiff, it's great. Well, I mean, I had 2 theme props on it too, but even if it just makes me use theme props, as long as it's not the crit.
Exactly. Like it's eating up your actions and stuff.
I have to get through a 50-50 shape change in order to hit him again that turn. And so he maybe gets a whole nother turn where it's alive. So that's why I wasn't sure about it. I actually forgot.
And he can steal energy. He can heal from the Black Lantern stuff. Like
yeah. He doesn't get the
dead is not good.
I don't think. No, because he doesn't have that. Yeah.
No, he doesn't have the codex, but he's got the Black Lantern heal.
He does have the Black Lantern, yeah. So he could have healed quite a bit. So I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure on the sequencing there. And so I was able to get the one shot simply because the crit hits 1 extra damage to deal exactly 7 penetrating.
Yeah, that was pretty
and then after that, it was his turn was annihilate a bunch of my stuff. He killed. Actually, it wasn't even that much stuff, I guess. So he killed a Marvella, and he killed both Marvellas. He killed both Marvellas and put a Beast last click. And then Beast didn't die, so he just got back to sideline. And then my next turn, I arrowed, and I got to put him to last click with arrow. And then basically time was called 2 turns later, and I never quite finished him off. But I was up the 100 and whatever from the first one, so it was fine.
Yeah.
And so that was enough.
Then you were off to Alonso Gutierrez. He was playing another doppelganger team.
Yes. That game scared me for a hot second.
Okay.
So I'm going first, and I'm up against Mjolnir Doppelganger again. And this time I realize, I need to kill that object. So I pick a much better map, which is Doom's Castle. And so Doom's Castle, because his object needs to be in 5 away from his starting area out towards me, it means the spacing is exactly perfect, that I can sidestep up with basically anything. Anything is the 50-point Joker or the drone. And then even if they only sidestep 1 square, I have enough perplexes where if I call in Phoenix with 10 range, I can get her to 13, which means she can actually just snag an object from that row.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really silly. So I did that turn 1, and now I'm up 7 points or whatever. And I'm in first turn immunity with everything but that Joker, so I don't really have to do much. I sent in one of the bomb Jokers to the middle of the elevated patch. And then his turn, so basically he Voyager phased up everything near my bomb Joker, which I was sort of surprised about. And then once he did that, my turn 2 was do the Kobik swap stuff and put up a barrier in the back. But I didn't have enough actions or any way that I could really get things far enough away from Kobik to Poofer. Mm-hmm. So I just perplexed it for defense and just left her there, which matters in a second. And then I sent in the second bomb Joker to base all his stuff that was over by the first bomb Joker. And so both my bomb Jokers are next to, are all near Voyager plus Oz plus where his doppelganger is. So his turn 2, and I also get to swap away his team ability on Voyager, which mattered because it takes away her willpower. And so his turn 2 is Voyager does her TK to move his doppelganger up, so the doppelganger can charge and hit my stuff. And then it turns out he actually thought the blocking terrain in the bottom corner of the map was just clear, elevated. And so he thought he could just run past my barrier and just hit my stuff from behind, and it just didn't work. No. And so the only actual target he ended up having was Kobik. Because of where he's going to. Yeah, and I got a shape change roll, which failed. And then he had to attack her, and he needed like 8s, and I got a reroll on it, but he just hit, and so that hits the first time, and then the second one's much easier because I missed the super senses too. So she just gets hit, she dies. I'm like, okay, well now I'm down 100 points. That's not super great. But he ended up putting his doppelganger right next to all my stuff there by the blocking. I think the idea being it's just right there to hit me later. And because he left it there, I had a pretty easy route of just one-shotting him with Beast. So my next turn was call in Beast, get his damage up to 6 with perplexes and his pluses. The pluses gave him past the shape change. Oh wait, was it? Or maybe it was. How did I outwit? Oh, and I had outwit on the battery. That's what it was. Yeah. So it got him past the shape change, and the battery was on outwit. So that outwitted his defense power. So he didn't have toughness, and didn't have senses, and didn't have reflexes. And so it was basically needed a 7, and I had 3 theme probs on it for 6. And so doppelganger just dies.
Dude, Beast is like your MVP.
Beast is great. I mean, he's one of the best IDs out there just in terms of his efficiency, because he can be called in by nearly everything, and he just does work.
So good. Yeah, he's very efficient.
Yeah. And then I was able to poison Voyager plus Oz with the Joker that starts the turn next to them there, and then move the other Joker up a bit so that I could try and double poison the next turn. And then his turn basically came down to his Dark Phoenix retailed on the Joker that poisoned, because I was able to poof Beast afterwards by just moving my stuff over.
Nice.
And then he placed her. He placed her such that she. How did it work out? Oh yeah, that's right. It worked out. I missed all 3 of the shape change rolls again. Because I get one attempt each of the Jokers, and then I get a reroll on one of them. Just all 3 of them miss. So I don't get any new Jokers. I don't get any shape changes. But he ends up missing. So he actually was attacking his own Voyager with the attack, which was interesting. And he needed a 7 to hit the Jokers and the Voyager, but needed a 6 to hit Haha Joker, and he just rolled the 6. And so he left it at the 6, didn't bother re-rolling. And so Haha Joker ate 2 damage but didn't lose a token and got an action token, but I think he was on 0 from clearing the prior turn. And then she was able to just shoot one of the Marvellas dead. Oh no, it was drone. Flexed up the damage to 4 with the Voyager who was on the second click, and then shot dead the drone. So my drone's gone, his Phoenix is healed. And then basically wherever he sidestepped, it wasn't going to matter because of how close he was. My next turn was call in Adam with a Marvella and make sure to move up a Bomb Joker adjacent to the Dark Phoenix. And then once the Joker's adjacent to the Dark Phoenix, retail the Dark Phoenix, which means the Joker's a target. And so it's 2 penetrating on the Dark Phoenix to put to stop, and then the Joker explodes, killing the Dark Phoenix. And then because of the way the spacing worked out, it was also able to be next to all his other stuff. So I think I led the turn with Poison Kill Oz, just because I started next to him. And then it was move over to the Dark Phoenix, which actually happened to also be next to Voyager. And I was able to get Voyager within the attack because of the spacing. And so it was Dark Phoenix put Voyager to last, or Adam put both Dark Phoenix and Voyager to last click, and then the bomb explode killed both of them from the one Joker. And then the other Joker was further away. I swapped him to Sniper to shoot the Groot. And then all he had left was a Trelane.
Can't do much for that.
Not in. I mean, time is called. I think it was his next turn, and so Trelane got like a shot to maybe crit hit Haha Joker to take 10 points. That is all he could really do at that point. And so I had one turn where I killed like 200 points of things.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good turn.
All right, so then on to the finals, right, against George?
Is that no? There had to have been one more, right? Because there was 4 rounds of. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, Easton couldn't play because of timing, so I wasn't actually able to play against Easton. So the next round was in fact against George. And so in the finals, I won map again. So I did the kill his object thing turn 1 with Phoenix, same map. And I threw everything. Okay, so turn 1, kill his object with Phoenix, so he can't get the second plasticity effect. And then basically my turn 2 is swap out the Joker for the new thing with Kobik, do all that stuff, put up some barriers. And I mean, because of where he has to place the bomb to have full coverage on the map, basically everything of mine is protected by blocking in the middle of the map on the lower elevation, which also means there's not really good elevated lines to shoot down on either. And so I think every single piece on my team got to attempt to disarm the bomb.
Every
And the
single
first, like,
piece did, and only 2 ticked it up.
yeah, one rolled like a 4 and one rolled a 5, and the rest of them whiffed.
Like hard.
So,
It was like
yeah.
1s, 2s.
And they were like 2 of the later ones too. I mean, I think it was like the 4th or 5th roll was the first thing that wasn't a miss.
Yeah.
So it got down to like 3 before I finally ticked it up.
Yeah, it was close to going off.
It's very close to going off. And so the main thing that happened that game was the 2 bomb jokers just got sent in, and then he had both of his Luthors next to each other. And so they just based his whole team basically because he had the 2 Luthors and a bunch of Brainiacs nearby. And I misplayed my next turn. I misplayed the approach turn. I put the nets under the Luthors, and they really should have been under the Brainiacs. And so he was able to just phase to get away, so I couldn't poison his Brainiacs for free. And so I ended up getting one of them. Oh, no, I actually didn't get any of them with poison. Yeah. So I got none of his Brainiacs with poison because they just phased away. But his Luthors got stuck in place, needing 6s to breakaway roll up. And so they got stuck there forever for like 5 turns or 6 turns or whatever it was.
I don't think they ever moved.
No, because I re-rolled all his 6s.
He hit a 6 once, and you probbed it.
I think it was twice. Yeah,
at least once, but I remember you probbing it out of it, and he was like,
I probbed him out of it at least. I think it was at least twice, because you need 6s to break away because of the double plasticity next to everything, even with lust. And so he just got stuck there forever. And then basically, Haha Joker took 10 range pot shots at the Brainiacs. Eventually got one. And then time was called before I could get the second Brainiac. I think time was called the turn I actually killed his first Brainiac with Joker.
Yeah.
And so I'm up 14-3 in that position. And so basically, if he wants to win, he needs to take. Yeah, I think that's right. 14. I'm sorry, 14-8. 14-8. Because I give up the Kobik ID, and so I'm up by 6. So if he calls in with any of his IDs, he's going to need to take 2 tokens off Joker. And so George went in the tank. George immediately at the beginning of the turn tried to do breakaways, and they all failed. I think I had to use a theme problem on that turn specifically to stop one of them. And then he did the Brainiac thing to try and kill the bomb jokers. He rolled the 5, but only one of them was in range. So it only killed the 1 bomb joker. But that gave him squares he could call into to do stuff from. So had that just whiffed, like just rolled a 1, then I think it would just have been over right there. Instead, he had the squares necessary that he was able to call in the War Machine with the target lock. And he did the math real quick, and he thought, I think George forgot that the target lock is at printed values, so he thought he had the full 10 he needed. And so it was basically perplex up damage, running shot, hit you for 5 on the first one, get 1 token, and then make the second attack. And because of double perplex on defense, he did need 8s to hit, and he did actually get 8s to hit.
But he only hit for 4 instead of the 5.
Right, which meant I was on click 12 instead of click 1 again. So he only got 1 token off, and then because he gives me the extra 5 points when I'm 6 ahead, he loses by 1.
Yeah, it was such a close game. It was like, like you both fought it out well, and it was definitely a match of masters there. But yeah, it was good to watch you guys in the finals. Again, congratulations with your win. What else? Do you have anything to add to the bronze? What are you cooking up next in the kitchen?
I think I'm just going to refine this for a while. This seems really good. I like the core strategy. I think it's got a lot of things going for it. I think it has room to be tweaked and improved. Like some of them I noticed right away. I mean, Chamber and Iceman never did anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Chamber for sure was a dead call-in for you.
Chamber was in theory better than Iceman. At least the Iceman I picked.
So who can call in Chamber though? Just
both of them are drone.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Is it's only drone.
And if drone's that close, it's probably dead.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of situations where basically because I've got the barrier stuff going on, that if they want to do anything, they have to be right there. And so sidestep call up Chamber was like when I was looking at it, it seemed feasible.
Okay.
And even like sidestep call in Chamber and Psychic Blast with put everything in like shield TA that I can steal off Kobik for the turn and then I get it
Force
forever.
Blast too, which is very helpful.
Yeah, and then he's got so like he can do like 6 penetrating at range. I mean, if I didn't have to worry about characters in the way, I probably would have led with him over Arrow if I didn't have the Beast line. to do the target selection. And you can do arrow after, because the psychic blast is all you needed, right? You didn't need anything else. So I mean, he could have been okay. It's just that the fact that he can only be called in off drone is just so bad on tempo, because you need to be calling in Kobik early.
Got it.
In order to swap out Joker, and so your action economy on the drone is just really bad when you only have the one. And so that was
it takes a while to get them clear again if you don't hit your leaderships.
Right.
To get that, so it doesn't count
it's
against your action total.
After that, and you're doing it like every game. And so that was the issue there. And then just like the other things that would have been in that slot instead would have just been more useful in a bunch of the matchups. Because I mean, the main two things to look at, I mean, it's either you trade out both of those, and then you either gain Widow, which was my original one, or I guess you could do like Storm, would be okay too. But those would be like the two things to go there. And either of those would have been better against George. Either of those would have been better against the Nulls. Either of those would have been better against Absolute Carnage. Either of those would have been better against like everything than what I had.
No, for sure. Cool, man. So you're getting ready for Worlds. So good luck with that.
Yes.
Do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so, unless there's any questions you wanted to ask me.
No. Like I said, I think the one that most people had was how why you had the Joker on the sideline and how that interacted. And you explained it really well. So thank you for coming on, Adam. Always appreciate talking to you. And
always a pleasure.
I look forward to some new teams you're coming up with.
I think I'm out of juice for bronze for the time being. There's nothing else I'm hoping to get banned this year. I got my 3 targets.
All right. So what were your 3 targets this year?
It was Black Glove Demon, who got errated instead of banned, Signal, and Plastique Explosives.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have a 4th yet. It would have probably been Valeria, but I mean, she's on the watch list, so.
Yeah. So hopefully we hear soon with what's going on with that. And best of luck at Worlds, bud.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Shake it, Cali.